So tonight we will be talking about confidence. Confidence. And we are glad that you all are coming in to join us and to join in on the conversation. We want your input as well. So come on in and please like and share when you come in. So Bernadette, first of all, it's good to see you this evening. I know you have had a busy day and busy week.
It has been a busy day and I think it's been a busy month. I cannot believe how fast this month has passed, but wonderful to see you as always.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So we're going to have a great conversation, something that we know about and we have experienced, and something that we have had to develop in our lives, and that is confidence. One thing I think the people don't know about you, or they may not know about you, was that when, of course, we've been knowing each other ever since we were in college. We met in,
Absolutely, yes.
well, it's not too long ago, but it's been a while.
Okay.
But when you finish, when we finished college, when you finished, when you were 21, you moved to London.
Yes,
You moved to London, and that's when you started your professional career, when you graduated from college and you went
absolutely.
to London. You had just graduated with your bachelor's degree in chemistry.
Mhm.
What was the first thing that came to your mind when you were offered that job? Did you have any doubts about whether or not you were the right person for the job? What came to your mind when you were offered this position?
Well, how I got the position is interesting, all by itself. I had a professor who was my chemistry professor and very strict. I mean, I don't even know if the man knew my name. I
Uh-huh.
just know that one day he we were known by numbers. Everybody in his class when he got there, he made sure that you understood that you had no relationship with him. And he
Mhm.
was like, find your seat, and wherever you sit, that's where I'm going to remember that you're sitting. Don't try to change your seat, stay there. And
Oh.
so, and he had been teaching there for many years. So people knew him. And so as soon as you got in the class, a number of people had repeated his class. So some of my classmates were like, he is hard, he don't like people. And but that's the person that asked me to come to his office one day after class and to speak with
Mhm.
him. And I thought, oh my God, I got to come to your. I was like, oh, what have I done wrong now?
Right.
Because he was a very difficult teacher, and so I had not passed all of his pop quizzes, and I thought I was doing okay. I was like, Lord, am I failing this man class? And he wanted to talk to me. So when I got there to talk to him, he asked me, why was I majoring in medical laboratory technology? Cassandra, I that's a whole nother story. I had heard someone else say that they were majoring in medical laboratory technology, and it just sounded good. It sounded like it was going to be important. I was going to be
Oh
somebody.
yeah.
And so I started putting that down that I was going to major in medical laboratory technology. And he
Mhm.
said, your grades in chemistry is way too good for you to be majoring in medical laboratory technology. And I said, okay. So I became embarrassed to even answer why I was even majoring. I didn't even want to tell him that, I just heard my sister friend say that. And that was the only reason I had come to that conclusion. And so he said, what do you want to do? So then he asked me, which no one else had ever asked me, how much money did I want to make? And I said $1 million. At that time I said I want to be a millionaire. And he looked at me and he said, well, you need to go do the research on how
Uh-huh.
much a medical laboratory technologist make and come back to me. So he didn't tell me how much they made. He made me go do the research. And when I found out that a medical laboratory technologist at that time made $19,000 a year, I said, no, that changed everything I dreamed about. I was like, no, no, I do not. I was just so upset with myself because I originally wanted to be in real estate, but
Mhm.
just, sometimes not being in the right network, not talking to the right
Being
people.
around the great people.
Yes,
Mhm.
I was talked out of that and decided to, go. I knew I didn't want to be a doctor. I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer because those were the things at that time, when we were younger, be a doctor, be a lawyer. And I didn't want to be either one of those. So when my sister friend came by and said medical laboratory technologist, I thought, that's me right there. I'm gonna have a long name behind my name. But this man made me do the research. And when I came back to him, and he was almost laughing. He was like, "Oh, so you realize you're not going to be a millionaire with 19th?" I was like, "You know what? I don't want to. No, I've changed my whole mind. I don't never want to be that again." So he said, "Bernadette, I have a program that you might be interested in. You definitely qualify." He said, "You have some amazing grades in physics, and you have some great grades in chemistry." And at that time, forensic science was not known. It's not a big thing like
Right.
it is now. And so he introduced me to forensic science. And so my really my junior year of college, I already knew that I had a job offer. They had offered me $60,000 a year. And I was just so excited because that was going to be more money. I couldn't even fathom making $60,000 a year. But
Mhm.
that made me realize that, okay, if I can do $60,000 a year, then I can reach $1 million a year. So no, I didn't feel qualified at all. If that man had not approached me and told me that I could do something better, and that I was smarter than what I was playing myself to be, I would still be a medical laboratory technologist probably to this day. But I am so grateful and so thankful that God sent someone. And this is the thing for Sandra. When he introduced me to that, he helped me fill out the application. He talked to my mama. He did all of
Did
that.
he?
Yes, he called my mom and talked. And from that day forward, when we finished everything and he told me and introduced me to everyone I needed to meet and helped me set up the airline, I'd never flown, so I didn't know airline tickets. He set all of that up with me along, with my mother, and never spoke to me again from that day. So when
Wow.
once I got my approval and was ready to go, I went running up to his desk. I was like, I, I can't even remember his name. That's crazy. I can't remember his name. It's been so many years, and I was excited. And he had this look like, "Little girl, go somewhere. Why are you in my face?" And so, I mean, just a whole blank look like he had before. And he was like, "Okay." That was it. That was it. Okay. And I think he may have said congratulations, but all I remember is that he said, "Okay."
So he was the one who was assigned to you to help
Yes,
put you on that path, and he
absolutely.
saw something in you that you didn't even see in yourself.
I didn't even see it. Wouldn't have known. And I certainly at that time, Cassandra, I was so super shy. Oh my God. I definitely never would have thought that I would be working a government job on that level. And I knew I wanted to travel. And it's true, I know we're not trying to make this an over religious thing, but
Right.
God really does know our heart. And He knew my heart even as a child that I wanted to travel. I wanted to travel the world. I'm a magazine person. I look in magazines and I saw these
Mhm.
opportunities and I saw these possibilities in Paris and London and Spain. And I had written these things down. And we had in high school, we had memory books. And
Yes,
so I had
right.
written all these things in my memory books and I had cut out pictures and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to London. I'm going to Paris. I had named all these places that I wanted to go to Switzerland. I wanted to go to Germany. I wanted to go. So God allowed that door to be open. And every place I wrote down, one day my mom called me and she said, "I was sitting here flipping through your memory book. And do you know you have gone to every place that you wrote down plus some?" So I am so glad that I found the confidence just to
Mhm.
get on the airplane, to have the conversation with the man that they said, he don't like anybody. He won't help anybody. You'll fail his class. He don't even care. But I felt I met a different person on that one day that helped me go to the next level. Now, days after that, months after that, weeks after that, no conversation at all. But he helped me that moment. He gave me the confidence that I didn't even have. So it is true that some people can see something in you or activate. I'm going to use the word activate. I like to use that word. I'm a cartoon watcher. And so the twins, remember the Wonder Twins, when they would
Mhm.
bump heads with each other and they would say activate. And
Activate.
so,
Mhm.
they would become these big, strong people after they bumped hands and said activate. And that's what he did for me is, he really activated something in me. And we have the confidence. I mean, you just as shy as I am. If
I
we have the
am.
confidence to get
People
up and
don't
do
believe
this,
me though.
Anybody can do it. I mean, and I think that's our calling. I think that's who we are today. Is we are now those mentors. We are those people that say, I see something in you.
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I did a workshop one time in Memphis, like years
We
ago. We did a
did.
scholarship
Isn't that
workshop.
something?
Yes,
Years
yes.
ago.
Years ago,
Right.
we did this scholarship workshop, and there was a young girl there, and I saw me. When I saw her, I saw me.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord just allowed me to just talk to her and just encourage her and say, you know what? You are going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
It may look like you're not, because you're shy and you're quiet, and that used to be me. And I think that was my first trip back to the United States at that
Right.
time, and you and I went to do that workshop.
We sure did. You know what? That was something because even then we were like in our 20s.
Yes, we were
We
in our
were we
20s.
was we were stepping out and doing what whatever God put in our hearts to do. And we want to say good evening, Dr. Carol Washington. Thank you for being with us this evening. And then we have Willie Maccabee from uh Cleveland, Ohio.
Awesome,
Thank you,
awesome.
sir, for joining us. We're so glad to have you this evening. And so, and what you're saying is so true, Bernadette, and that's why we want to offer the class.
Yes,
Not just for the content, yes, but really for support, to create
absolutely.
a network of support. Because one thing that helped push me was the people, were the people that I had around me. Because
Absolutely.
it makes a difference, like you were talking about the professor, when you have those people in your corner who are saying you can do it, even when you don't feel like you can yourself, or when you feel like you're just not enough, you don't have what it takes to to keep going, or to do it. But when you have someone who sees something in you and see better and see greater in you, then that gives you that push and gives you that accountability and that motivation. And that's what we want to offer as well. We want to offer motivation, support, accountability, as well as strategies and tools and resources to help push you into carrying out your vision, activating your vision, getting started, making it happen, because it does require action. It does require you to do
Absolutely.
something. And so, Bernadette, so we're talking about confidence. We're talking about confidence. That confidence at that point, it because someone else believed in you and encouraged you, and you found the strength to do that. You saw you begin to think, well, this person think offer this to me, said that they believe I can do
Yes.
it. You started thinking that way too.
I
You know.
absolutely started thinking that way. And that was just the beginning. So it has
Mhm,
happened numerous times since that time. So, I know we can't share everything, but when people sign up for the class, we're going to be sharing some of these stories. I was praying one day, and God just gave someone to call me. I had just
mhm,
started my business. I shared this with you before. I did not have a website. I didn't have anything up. But
mhm,
God gave me a supernatural website. Someone called me out of California, saw my business contact information. I knew I didn't have a website up. And she said, "Well, I see your website." And I was like, "What's the name of that company you're looking at?" And so I'm over there trying to Google and she's telling me the name of my company, call me on the phone, email address, and Cassandra, I had none of that up. But at the same time, I have been praying, God, show me the supernatural God. You know how we watch these
yeah,
televisions and people are like, well, I got a $45,000 check. I got a $50,000 check. And I wanted to know that God. So
yeah,
I started praying about, financial. Yes, I knew God the healer. And yes, I knew God the provider. But I had not met God on that financial level.
mhm,
And I was in financial trouble at that time. And God just supernaturally had this lady to call me. I didn't even know what fees to charge, all of that. It was just coming. So I was like, well, you know what? I charge $200 an hour. I'll give you a discount of 150. We worked it all out. And she did the calculations of what she wanted me to do. I didn't do the calculations. She was like, well, I need you to come do some consulting. At that time, I was not even doing consulting and not heard the
uh-huh,
word consulting. And she got me to, and I was like, yes, I'll come and help your practice out. And it's in healthcare. And I was like, I'll do it. And you do your workshops and seminars. And when she calculated, she said, well, from my calculations, it's going to come up to about $21,000. And I said, okay, never fathomed that someone would be paying me $21,000 for a week's worth of work.
mhm,
But here, when I got there, Let me go back just a little bit. So my partner goes to the post office at the time, gets the check out. He's calling me saying, how much did you charge these people? And I'm thinking, oh God, these people done changed their mind. They're not sending me. They ain't calling me out to do that. And sure enough, get there. I see this check. The lady paid $21,000. She had never met me. She had never seen me. And she gave me a $21,000 on what she believed I could do. That she had confidence in me having a conversation over the telephone. But that's not the changing thing that changed me, that affected me. That gave me the faith that God can do anything. Absolutely. But what happened is she kept calling me an expert. She said, yes, when the expert get here, she gonna show us how to do this. And I was like, why did this lady keep calling me an expert? I don't know, because I never referred to myself as an expert. Though I knew the information, I knew I was qualified. I didn't tell myself that I was qualified. I didn't tell myself that I was an expert. But again, she saw that in me. And because she saw that in me, that again activated me now to say, okay, I'm an expert in this consulting and getting you organized and taking your business or taking your church or taking your organization to the next level. And getting you from thinking the normal way and getting you from thinking outside the box. Matter of fact, getting you to the point to realize there is no box. And so,
That's right.
It was her that activated that you are an expert. Again, I was always qualified, but I didn't know I was qualified.
You didn't know you were qualified.
I didn't know. And I did a piece this morning on being qualified and being pre-approved. And sometimes we got to know if we qualified, then of course, God has already pre-approved us. We just got to step in there. And so the confidence will come as we make steps.
Yes. And so on that note, let's talk about what confidence is, because confidence is not arrogance.
No,
confidence is not arrogance. It's two different things. And for me, confidence is just another way of saying believing in yourself. Absolutely. Having faith. And that is generated from my faith and my trust in God. So it's through who He is, He shows me who I am.
Exactly.
Like you were saying, you didn't know you had these abilities in you, but through these people that He put in your life and in your path, absolutely, they showed you how He saw you, and then you believed it. You believed it, and that developed. That's how your confidence began to be activated, because you believed in the abilities that He put within you. Absolutely. There's a difference in thinking that you're making something happen yourself, that you're doing it all on your own. But confidence for me is just actually believing in what He says about me and the abilities that He puts in me, and I can do it. And if He shows it to me, if He gives it to me, if He puts it in my path, I can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No matter how big it is.
Absolutely, you can do it. And I love to tell people that confidence and courage is not the same thing. Just because you have the courage doesn't mean that the confidence is going to show up. You take the courage, and once you start moving in the courage and taking those steps, the confidence will come. I didn't consider myself an expert. I have done many workshops. I've done several seminars before I said, I have the confidence, like, oh, I can do that with my eyes closed. Before, when I first started, I wasn't saying that. Now, when the phone calls come and, can we book you? Can we schedule you? My hands not shaking and sweating. I haven't broken out into a sweat and hair done faded out, Now I have the confidence and I can talk, with the confidence. Yes, I absolutely can do that. Yes, you absolutely can trust me with your $1 million contract. You absolutely can. I can be the project manager on that and stay in your budget. So the confidence came after I had the courage to take the first step to believe that this is something that I can do. And we hear it all the time from different ministers and speakers and all these people that saying, you know what? I was afraid. God gave me a portion of the picture. I didn't know the end. But once I started, I'm glad I did. And that's where I am. I'm so glad that I left my 9 to 5. Yes, it was scary. It was concerning. but I knew I didn't want someone to control my time forever. And I knew if I continued to work a 9 to 5, someone else controlled when I got a raise. Someone else controlled when I went on vacation. They even controlled when I ate. So I was like, you control when I eat. And the only way I got out of that to leave my 9 to 5 is to have the courage to say, this is going to be my last day. Yes, I budget, and yes, I plan, and I put all these things, but was it perfect? Absolutely not. If there wasn't a sure thing, I tell people, when you step out there, you're not for sure that this is going to work. But the only way it's going to work is if you start. You're going to have some action. You're going to have to put some work into it to make sure that you get to where you want to get to.
So I like what you're saying about confidence and courage. And I was thinking about sometimes you may get a leading or urging or unction to do something that you've never done before, that you have never done before.
Never done.
And Absolutely. Then that's really when you have to say, all of these thoughts start coming to your mind. How am I going to do that?
Exactly. The what ifs. What if?
What if? How am I going to do that? But you have to believe that if it comes, exactly. if it comes to your mind, if you can imagine it, you can do it. And sometimes you have to build the skill set to do it, but you can do it. You Absolutely. Have in you what it takes to do it. Now, have you encountered any challenges along the way that that caused you to question your ability or what you are passionate about? Has anything happened in all of the years, even ever since you were 21, and all the things that you've done? Any challenges you encountered that made you say, I don't know. I don't know about this one. This one here is huge.
Absolutely. I as you say, the urgent. I had the urgency to write a book. I knew that I wanted to write a book. I believe that God was giving me to write a book, but at the same time, I was so focused on trying to make it perfect. I was like, what if it's not this? And how many pages? And when I tell you, Cassandra, I researched and researched. I've had so many books, it was ridiculous. I was buying books and then procrastinating because I was afraid. I was like, well, maybe I want the book to be this style. Then I got down to, well, maybe I want it to be 100 pages or 60 pages, or maybe it should be a novel. What if just what you said? I had what if it to death. So the vision was about to die because I was sitting over here. What if it don't work, and what if don't nobody buy it, and what if this, and what if that? And so I procrastinated for years before I wrote my first book. But one weekend, I woke up and said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish this. So I had started, I had chapters here and pages here, but I had not finished that book. One weekend, I was like, I'm not going to sleep until I finish this book. I wrote the book, finished the book, uploaded on what Amazon did, self-published, all of that wonderful stuff. And for 1 year, other than a few books that maybe my family or friends bought here, maybe I sold 5 copies. I don't know. It wasn't many, but probably about 5 copies. So, of course, I was like, man, that didn't do good. That was pretty horrible. So it makes you question yourself, like, was this good? And I was like, oh, that book didn't go over good. But then one day I got the nerve and I got the courage, because at that time I owned the Behavior Health Center and I was doing business class for providers. I was like, they know business. They know how to, help people get well, but they were horrible at business. And that's what my book was, to help physicians open a private practice, help them understand how to do business, help them get their money in. But that book wasn't being purchased. So I called one of the local hospitals that was also a teaching hospital. And I called the physics department, the psychiatrist department. And I said, hey, can I come in and do a workshop for you all, do a seminar or business for your doctors? Well, being a college student, I knew who to call, I knew to call the chair. And he was like, well, send me what you have. So I sent him a book. And he called me back. He got the book and he called me back. He's like, I like this. He said, we never thought about business. He said, how did you come up with this? I said, well, I own a behavior health practice. And one thing I know is that my physicians, they don't know how to do business at all. They are wonderful with seeing my patients, but they are horrible at business. And I was glad about it because, they worked for me at the time. And he said, okay, I was allowed to come in, do a workshop, but the book that had no one purchased for 1 year, other than, my few friends here and there, all of a sudden this school picked up the book and it became a part of their curriculum. So what if I would have never, ever wrote the book? It sat on the shelf or sat at Amazon or wherever it's at for 1 year. Zero purchases, from the real public, and one phone call. And so that's what I tell people, you one phone call, 1 day, one prayer, one step, one action away from something happening that's life-changing. So opportunity. Now, I could have not made that phone call and missed that opportunity, and that book would still be out there, underutilized. But here they used it for years, and I got their royalty check for years. And, again, let's talk about that. We were praying, God, give me something, increase my finances and do this. But until we put in the work, what if your finances are tied to the book that you have not finished? What if your finances are tied to the ministry you have not started? What if your finances are tied to the prayer line? If it's tied to that and you haven't done what you're supposed to do, stop praying for finance and increase because you haven't done your part. We still got to take our steps in order for that to happen. And yes, it's going to take courage, but the moment you do it, the confidence will come. So, I just put out another book, Healed in 30 Days. I'm working on another book. So now it's come easy, like writing books. I got that down packed now, girl.
Yes. And so, knowing that you have something to offer, knowing that what you have is great, it's good, and being and putting it out there. It made me think about Miles Monroe. He was teaching and he was saying that a young lady came to him and told him, crying that she had lost a job. And he asked her something about the stove in her house and he told her, you need to use it. And when she did, I think she started baking cookies or something.
Yes, she started baking cookies.
Started baking cookies, and she put that stove to use in that house, and the girl became an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Business was booming.
Millionaire.
Millionaire. So we have Rona here, Bernadette, and you were talking about people saying, I just don't have the money. I don't have the money. Rona says, she says that she has an idea. There's something that she wants to do, but she just doesn't have the finances.
Okay, that's probably my favorite question. Rona, so I would tell you my secret when I started. I was making a $150 unemployment check when I started my business. That's exactly what I was getting. So absolutely, I didn't have any money to be starting a business, but I believed I could do it. So what I started doing was I went to the thrift store and I would buy chairs. I had never upholstered a chair. I was like, let me do something simple. I can paint a table. I can do something. And so I got tables and I would repaint those tables. I would, spray paint them. And then I would take a picture of them. At that time, it wasn't the YouTube, Facebook, all this wasn't a big thing at that time. This was early 2000. And so I would take a picture of it, go into the low income communities where, they can't afford to go to maybe to some of the high end furniture stores. And I would put the picture up and I was like, I'm selling the table for $25. I'm selling the table for $20. Well, I only paid $2 or $3 for the table, fixed it up, and that became my capital. So I don't want you to get in the thought process that you got to borrow some money. No, absolutely, you don't have to borrow any money. Now, just with Christina, you just made a wonderful example. The holidays are coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. So if you are a wonderful baker and you can make some good punch, you can bake some good chili or whatever, start selling that. We do have everything we need is really inside of us. I 100% believe that we are born with everything that we need to.
Yes.
So maybe you don't have the money to put into the business that you want to do, but do what you can do to create the capital. You can babysit, maybe you can make some pillowcases. My niece started making pillowcases. At one point, my sister was selling candles. My other niece started selling lip gloss, because you can do something. It doesn't, and it will build into what you want to do. So me selling stuff at the thrift store allowed me to start my medical billing and coding business. So use
Rona
what you
said she
have
can't.
right now.
She said she can't cook a lick, but what can you do?
Yes, just
What
make a list.
can you do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
make a list of what you can do, and then let's figure out how you can make some money from what you can do. I don't ever want you to focus on, and that's what happened for Sandra. I'm glad she said that, because the first thing we do is we immediately think of what we can't do. I never think anymore of what I can't do. My first thought is what I can do. So I don't want you to ever think about, when we talk about finances, increases, and bettering your life, that's a trick of the enemy. He immediately bring what you can't do. Never
Right.
write it down. Don't stop it. That's my thing.
Mhm.
When that negative thought comes, put your hand up, just like, when you want to stop someone and you say stop. So when that thought comes, that's trying to be negative, stop. I'm not going to have that thought. So from this day forward, Rona, only think of what you can do. Don't worry about what you can't do. Focus totally on what you can do, because I know you're great at something.
Oh, she's a nurse practitioner. Awesome. She's a nurse practitioner.
We can talk offline, Ronnie. So for Sandra, set up some time so I can talk to her. So if you're a nurse practitioner, I certainly hope that you're on the Medicare panel, because you actually can open a private practice on your own as a nurse practitioner and actually get on some panels. So you are in a great, great, great place. You just need to be a little creative.
Yeah. Family and mental health. All right, Rona. Awesome. Awesome.
Absolutely.
So, Bernadette, name one thing that you learned about yourself over the years during the times you took the risk to try new things. What is it that you found out about yourself every time you tried something new? Something new, a new opportunity came up, or your life went into a new direction that it was unknown, you were unfamiliar with. What did you find out about yourself? What did you learn about yourself?
I learned, for me, that failure wasn't failing. Or losing wasn't failing, or if something doesn't work out, it's not failing, it's a learning opportunity. So I began to learn what works and what doesn't work. So I'm okay if something doesn't work out. I'll just start out, I'll do something else. So I never get stuck anymore. I think one of the things that I used to do is get stuck, and just like, well, why didn't it work? And what happened? And why did the dog die? I don't even care why the dog died anymore. I got to move quickly. And so I learned through the years, if something isn't working, move on. Don't waste time trying to, wake up something that's dead. Let it die and move on.
So that's how you regroup. When
That's
something
how I
doesn't
regroup.
come, that's how you regroup. You don't allow yourself to just focus on that this was a failure, or you say this was a failure, but you say this is an opportunity to try it a new way.
Yeah, I
This is
just say
an
it didn't work out.
opportunity
That didn't work out, so let me
that
try
didn't quite
something else.
work out. So
Yes,
what do I need to do? Study it, learn from it, get
exactly.
what is it that I need to do? It could be that you learn, but this is not something I'm good at. This is
Exactly.
not something I'm good at. Let me go back to the drawing board. Let me go back to the table. Let me go back over my skill set. Let me see what it is. And you may
Exactly.
have to try a few things, but you need to know that you can do it. I think
Exactly.
the guy that started BET said he got so many no's.
So many no.
He got so many no's. He got so many no's before things actually worked and
Yes.
took off. And now he sold that sold BT. I think it was in the billions, wasn't it? It was up there.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
big money that he sold it for. But
Yes.
what if he
I've
had
gotten so many no's. When I didn't have a marketing company when I first started I marketed myself. I cold call. I pick up the phone and say, "Hi, this is Bernadette. I'm calling to see if you want to take advantage of my medical billing and coding service." I still remember my little script, and I was like, "Can I fax it? Can I email it to you? Can I drop it off to you?"
whatever.
Whatever. And some people just hung up. Some people said no. It didn't matter, but the yes was so rewarding. I wouldn't trade it for anything, because it helped me deal with, what, no is just another word. And I don't have to accept no. No is just no from that one person. how many billion people in the United States. So until I touch that billion people, I haven't reached everybody and I haven't heard every no. It sounds like it when you've gotten so many no's, like everybody's saying no. No, absolutely. Everybody's not saying no. You just got a few no. And
Uh-huh.
again, our mind immediately want to go negative. So it's like every time I call, they say no. Everybody's saying they want to buy anything. And I want to add this, Cassandra, while we're talking about that. If we're going into business or we're moving in career or we're doing something, don't hold your family hostage to celebrate you. I think that's one of the biggest things that people make a mistake in. They have a business, and when their family or their friends don't jump on board immediately, we hold them hostage, like as if they owe us something. Release your family and
Mm-hmm.
focus on my target market is not my family, it's not my friends. That's not my market. That's
Mm-hmm.
not who purchased my products. That's not who purchased my services. I can tell you, I do financial planning all the time, and I can probably count on one hand how many family members that I've set their finances up. But I can count thousands of people that I've set up that I've never known that
Mm-hmm.
called me for my services. And I hear people say, and I see it on the Instagrams and the Facebook, and my family, they upset, and you would think they would support me. Release that. It's okay. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
support doesn't mean purchase. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
That's right.
support means prayer. Support
Mm-hmm.
means, you brought me lunch. Support means you brought me dinner. So stop tying support to money from your
Mm-hmm.
family and from your friends.
This last thing, what advice will you give to someone who's 21 and not sure of themselves, and someone who's 51 or 61 or whatever, and they think their dream can never come true? They think, oh, I just don't have what it takes. Or what would you say to that 21-year-old, that young person? What would you say to a person who's a little more seasoned and mature and may need to start all over again? It's all right to start again. What would you say to that person?
I would say the one thing I wish I had, Cassandra, when I was 21 and afraid and unsure, I wish I had a mentor. I wish I had a coach. I wish I had a Bernadette. I wish I had a Cassandra that I could honestly and openly be and talk to and have someone encourage me and say, you know what, I'm afraid. Will you help me? There are times that we've gotten on here and did interviews. The people that was afraid to get on and do interviews by
Correct.
themselves, and so I would say, get you a coach, get you a mentor. And if nothing else, if you can't afford a coach and you can't afford a mentor, go volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
but I would advise anyone, get a mentor, get a coach. All the mistakes that I made in trying to just make good decisions, I wouldn't have made so many mistakes or bad decisions if I had a mentor, if I had a coach to say, well, this is what I'm thinking about doing. They could have advised me like, "Don't, why would you do that? That's crazy." So,
Mm-hmm.
so my advice at any age, if you know you still need assistance, get a mentor, get a
Mm-hmm.
coach, let someone work with you. And it's okay to need assistance.
Yeah, and it's okay to say I don't know.
It's
It's
okay to say,
okay
I don't
to
know.
get, if someone can walk you around the potholes and walk you around, the take help you get on the right path without you having to take a lot of detours. Then of course that's wonderful. We need mentors. We need people in our lives who, and sometimes for me, Dr. Miles Monroe, I never met him in my life, but he was one of my
He
mentors.
was one of my mentors.
He was one
Exactly.
of my mentors. I bought his books. I listened to his segments, television segments. I listened to his broadcast. So he was one of my mentors. A lot of people don't know that they were my mentors, but they were. I
They
didn't
were. They
meet them
are.
face to face.
They still are.
Right. They still are. And so you have to sometimes when I would need things that I wanted to learn, if I had to drive 6 hours to a conference, I did whatever I needed to do in order to learn, in order to get the information, to get the instruction and direction. And sometimes I would walk up to people. Some people now. I say, "Hey, look, we need to have lunch.
Hmm.
We need to have lunch." And I go and I ask questions and I sit there and I listen. Sometimes when I'm in the company with people, I don't talk. I just let them.
Absolutely.
I let them talk and I listen. I glean as much information as I can. So we should always be in a position that I'm a learner and be
Exactly.
teachable so that you
Exactly.
can learn. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful conversation. Well, we're going to sign off now and we're going to say have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Good night.